Maryland basketball could add a really interesting player.
You are Locked On Terps, your daily podcast on the Maryland Terps, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everyone? I'm Tre Moore, host of Locked On Terps for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So thank you guys for making us part of your day. And this episode is brought to you by Mazda. We put the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment and putting in the work that defines you. Stay tuned for the highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to Mazda because there's more to you. Maryland basketball has been atop of the kind of college basketball world with the really interesting news of them potentially adding Kyree Walker. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm still pretty young, and I remember Kyree Walker when he was supposed to be the next big thing. I know some of you guys are a little bit older, may have not really paid attention to it, but it was a big kind of younger kid thing where he was kind of one of those recruits that, I don't know if you guys know, like Julian Newman. He was kind of big on kind of Instagram and YouTube and different things like that because he's supposed to be like the best player in whatever class he was in now. Well, that was a while ago. And he had all these highlights and all these different camps he went to and all like the Ballers Lights of the world all were kind of on this guy, Kyree Walker. And he was supposed to be the next big thing, and then he ended up not going to college, going the pro route, and it just like didn't really work out for him, and he just kind of dropped off, to be completely honest. And it was one of those guys that I was wondering, not like maybe a couple months ago, me and my friend had the conversation, we were like, where did this Kyree Walker guy go? Because you see guys that are number one players in their class, and all of a sudden they disappear, and you're like, what the heck happened to him? And the interesting thing is Maryland is now scheduled for Kyree Walker to visit next Wednesday, is what he told on 3. And he's 25 years old now. So he would be one of the oldest guys in college basketball by far. He would definitely be one of the older guys that are playing college basketball, but could be there's a bunch of different dynamics to it. One, I think it is really weird, to be fair, adding guys like this late or guys that just didn't decide to go to college. I don't know if I'm for or against it. For me, I have to see how Maryland does with it. Like if Maryland's able to add guys that are coming back to college basketball. Like we've seen teams add a couple of these guys. I think Bama had added someone in the middle of the season, guys that are like played in the NBA or went to the G League. Even guys that played like sometimes in college basketball, like I saw Amari Bailey was trying to come back to college basketball, or trying to come back because of the money. And this is kind of the problem with the NIL world, is we get guys like Kyree Walker, like Amari Bailey, that are 25 years old, that are planning on coming back to college basketball. And I don't blame Buzz Williams at all for scheduling a visit with Kyree Walker. I don't blame him at all. I think it's the right thing to do. We're trying to win. And if the rules allows us to add somebody like this, whether I guess it would be for next year, I'm guessing. That's what I'm also confused about. I guess we would add him next year. I'm like, surely he's not coming to play a week for Maryland basketball. Like I think it's next year. But if it's in the rules and if we're allowed to add a guy like this and he ends up being a really good college player for 1-2 years, however long he may be, has the ability to play, whatever the rules state, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain. And I'm not going to be mad at Buzz Williams for doing things that are allowed inside the rule books, because this is what happens with the recruiting landscape, and same thing happened with NIL. And I think a really good example of this is Clemson football, which I watched a lot of when I was younger. You guys talk about the Trevor Lawrence jersey. Clemson obviously used to be really good. Like every year was competing with Bama. I felt like to be arguably the best program. You could argue Dabo Swinney was the best coach. Like what is that? 5, 6, 7 years ago, and they were really good. And then when the NIL era started and the transfer portal era started, they didn't want to go into the portal. They didn't want to get guys. They didn't want to adopt the new way, and they got left behind. And Maryland basketball, we're already bad this year. We've only won 2 Big Ten games, and we'll talk about the second one in the next segment and us winning another Big Ten game and how I was proud of the team for that. But we've only won 2 Big Ten games. We can't come up short in the future and different strategies that can make us a better basketball team, that can figure out some of our weaknesses. And a guy like Kyree Walker coming in, if he's 25 years old and he's a grown man and he has a real skill set, I'm not going to complain about him coming in. And if he ends up being a really good player, I'm not going to complain at all for a 6'6" wing that I think could be a really good player for Maryland basketball end up coming in. I just think that it can work for us. And he is, I think, would be a solid player. He spent the last 4 years playing professionally overseas, and he also played in the G League like a while ago as well. And so there's a lot of criticism with it, and I do understand it. And as a Maryland fan, if it works out for us and it's making us a better team, I'm not going to sit here and complain. Do I think it's good for college basketball? Do I think it's good for some of the younger players that are looking to get recruiting, like guys out of high school? No, I think it could definitely hurt that, and I don't think it's great for college basketball. But if Buzz Williams is doing a really good job at it and we're able to land someone like this that actually helps our team and isn't a distraction, you're not going to hear me sit here and complain too much about it. And that's just me being completely honest about it. So I do think he could end up being a really good. And I think the big reason why these guys are starting to come back to college basketball, like I said earlier a little bit, it's the money. If you're not able to go to the NBA, I think it's more profitable now. If you're a big-time college player, like some of these really good players, I think it's more profitable. You can make probably, I don't know the exact numbers, depends on the type of player you are. I would say you can make upwards over probably like $300K, $400K to go play somewhere like Maryland, or $200K, $100K. Like, I think you can do that. And I think a lot of the prices that some of these college teams are willing to pay are going to be better than playing overseas. And then there's something to be said, the college lifestyle as well, when you're a guy like Kyree Walker, who hasn't been able to be in college. I know he's kind of old now, so that'll be kind of weird, but he hasn't really been in college atmosphere. Like, that could be something that he wants to do. Like, I don't think that's crazy at all. I think that's probably more enjoyable for a guy like that than going to play overseas. You have to deal with a language barrier and different things like that. And I think he would be a good ad for Maryland basketball. Like, he's played pro for 5 years or whatever the number is. Like, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, he won't be good for Maryland. Like, he won't end up working out. Like, I think he'll be pretty good for Maryland basketball if he ends up committing to Maryland. I guess that's next year. Like, I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. I'm reading about it. I'm so concerned. I'm so confused about the timing because I see I saw the Alabama guys start playing this year. I'm like, what, is it mid-season? Like, is it next season? Like, what's the deal? Like, the kid's going to be playing college basketball at 26 years old? Like, I guess it's going to be good. Like, it'll be good for us. And we need guys like that. We need wings that can play. And I think that it could work out. And Buzz Williams, and it seems like we're in the driver's seat. I don't know what's going to end up happening. I know there's a couple other schools he can potentially end up visiting, but it seems like we're in the driver's seat, and we'll see how it goes down. But I'm excited kind of to see what happens with it, and if Maryland's able to land him. I think he'd be a fit, grown man, hopefully has figured out kind of the offense side of the ball too. And I mean, I think he could be good for Maryland basketball. But it is interesting that Buzz Williams seems to not care, and he's diving in, letting guys visit. So I think some coaches won't even allow it because they're just so against it and they don't believe in that philosophy. But I don't know. We'll see if this really becomes a thing. But this is one of the big names. He has a big brand, a big social media platform. So it's entertaining if he ends up joining. I think it's really interesting. I know the other players, but he might have like the biggest following out of these guys. Like, he's been really popular. And so bringing more attention to Maryland basketball, seeing where it happens, it's better for me as someone who talks about it every day, and I think also can be better for the fans as well. And we're not good this year, so any talent upgrade is better than what we're looking at now. So I think that could be potentially a good ad for Maryland basketball. Let's talk about Maryland basketball getting a big win against Minnesota. Just our second win of this season. What was I impressed by? Who played well? We'll talk about that next. This is Mazda moving the game forward. And for those who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. I think Malik Washington is a really good example of doing extra work off the field, and we've really saw him his freshman year be able to take off. This reminds us what it takes to really raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court or the field, and that's exactly what Malik Washington did all season long for Maryland football. He dialed in all the details. He gave all that extra fire that we needed, that energy, that grit, and that I never quit attitude. And Mazda puts the same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel, and what it took to get there makes it count. There's more to Mazda because there's more to you. The new year's here, and it's a perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it works and feel. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the new year fresh. Wayfair is everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. I picked up the new bedding and accent pillows from Wayfair, and it's completely changed how my bedroom feels. It's cleaner, calmer, and more put together. I love how I can find pieces that match my style without spending a fortune. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Let's talk a little bit about Maryland's big win over Minnesota this past weekend. Finally getting in the win charts always feel good for Maryland basketball. This isn't the NBA where people are talking about there's a game today where it's like everyone's like, it's the tank bowl, it's important for these two teams to tank. Like, it doesn't help us to lose. We're not getting a better draft pick by losing games. And so it was great to see Maryland getting a win over a Minnesota team that recently just beat Michigan State. Is not a bad team. A team that I thought had Maryland had a solid chance to beat. I thought it was one of our last chances this year to potentially have a good opportunity to win a game, and we moved to 2-10 in the Big Ten. Definitely not great, but better than 1-11 in the Big Ten and 9-14 overall. And I had a couple different takeaways from this game. I think number one, those of you guys that watch a lot, my Diggy Coit theory did come through in the game. If you guys remember what I said about Diggy, I was like, there's going to be games where I first off, I said, I don't mind him taking 9 or 10 threes a game, him taking some tough shots, him attempting to drop 30 points or drop 40 points. Like, I don't mind, because there's going to be games, which we've seen over the past couple of games, where he shoots 1 for 10 from the 3-point arc and he just looks bad, turnovers the ball 3 times. But then there's going to be games where he literally wins us the game, and because he's streaky, but when he gets hot, it allows us to potentially win the game. And where Maryland basketball was at, I thought the chances of Diggy Coit catching fire and the chances of Diggy Coit having a good game is worth him taking some of these shots, even though it's not necessarily like he's having good games more than he's having bad games or inefficient games. But the chances of Maryland basketball winning without him kind of doing something huge is kind of low. So a lot of Maryland's wins this year, like about half of them, I want to say, is because when Diggy Coit goes for like 30 points, or we've seen him drop 40 a couple of times, or remember that the game against Mount St. Mary's, I think it was, when we went to OT, to a team that we should have beaten in regular time for sure. It's because of Diggy Coit. And so I think it's kind of worth him taking a bunch of tough shots to keep things simple. And that's exactly what he did. 4 of 7 from the three-point arc, 9 of 13 overall, 29 points in 29 minutes. He averaged a point a minute, which is pretty big time for Diggy. And he also shot the ball really well from the free throw line, which I thought was really good to see. And he came off the bench and did all that. And so he's the biggest reason why we won that game. He looked excellent in the game, and he'll do this. He'll have performances where, like I said, he'll randomly have 30 or 40 points, and you'll be like, well, Maryland's in this game, Diggy's going. And so that was really cool to see. And then my second really, the thing I love to see most, the second thing I really like to see in this game was the two young guys, again, the two freshmen, the redshirt freshmen and just the pure freshmen, Darius Adams and Andre Mills, I thought had another game where they kind of were the main guys in the starting lineup to get it done for Maryland basketball, to give us some scoring, to give us some passing, as in the case of Darius Adams, give us some things on the defensive side of the ball I thought was good. And so we saw Darius Adams and Andre Mills both have good games. And to me, that's one of the more important things of the season, because if I had to guess, I think both of those guys will be back next year for Maryland basketball and could have a lot of momentum and really help us next year in getting us on the right track and putting us in position to win games next year. And because they're both young, I think they trust Buzz Williams. So I think there's a really good chance those two guys are back next year for Maryland basketball. And so their development is really important to me this year. This year's loss. Like, we're not going to win the Big Ten. We're not going to make the tournament unless we go on some insane run to end the season and somehow make the run the Big Ten tournament to win it, which I personally don't see us doing, and I don't think any of you guys see us doing. So it's really important to me that the two guys that could be back next year, Darius Adams and Andre Mills, are both playing really well. And Darius had 11 points. Andre Mills had 12 points. Darius Adams also led our team in assists with 3, which I thought was good. And Andre Mills, man, he's showing some things offensively that I've always kind of questioned the offensive field from him, but he's getting it done. And so those two guys continue to be two of our better players, which is really good to see. And then Solomon Washington nearly had a double-double, had 9 points, 10 rebounds. He's really, for a guy that's undersized, the offensive rebounds at an extremely high rate. Like I said, he's always going high motor. He's always trying his hardest to win. I love having him. I wish we could have had him from the start of the year with Pharrell Payne, and maybe this year could have looked a little bit different. Not saying we would have been good, but maybe a little bit different. And so that was great to see. But a great win against the Minnesota team. I thought we conquered down defensively, which we haven't done much this year. There's games where we just give up a lot of points, only gave up 62 points to Minnesota, and that was with them shooting a pretty good percentage from the three-point arc. But I thought inside the three, we actually played them really good with some of our defensive stops as well. And then we also got some offensive rebounds, especially Solomon Washington, which was good to see as well. Those definitely add up and help too. So that was big for Maryland basketball as well. So I thought we played a pretty solid game, and I think, we'll see what happens. But I think getting into the Big Ten tournament, I know not every team makes it, and so Maryland's going to have trouble getting in. But if we can get in, I think that's interesting. It's another game we get to play and a game I would like to watch. So good win for Maryland basketball. It's only the second Big Ten win, so it is kind of a big deal. Let's talk about Maryland football adds a new portal QB, what my thoughts are, what his role will be. We'll talk about that next. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. And this year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever. Just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you could have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with local TurboTax experts in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employed forms and work to get you every deduction. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver. It gives real peace of mind knowing an expert handling it. And for a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. And if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. So Maryland football adds a brand new quarterback to their room, which I think is actually a pretty good add. I don't hate it at all as Maryland football goes ahead and adds another quarterback because obviously we know that we have Malik Washington. Malik Washington's our guy. I think everyone kind of knows that, but we had another guy to kind of not compete with Malik Washington, but just a guy to help balance out the room a little bit. That matters for Maryland football. You just don't know when someone's going to go down, when someone's going to get hurt. But Maryland adds this kid Devin Cardman from Kent State, which is, I think it matters. Like Maryland kind of lost most of the quarterback room. Justin Martin's at Ohio State, which still is weird to me. I don't know about you guys, but Justin Martin being at Ohio State. I was like, am I remembering correctly? I kind of completely forgot about that. I don't know why he went there. Like, I don't know what kind of money they were offering him, but he's going to be a backup. Like, I think he'll be the third string guy there, but whatever. I'm not the one to kind of judge. And then Christian Martin also left. Maryland's left with not really a backup quarterback. Christian Martin went to Fresno State, and I think he could be pretty good there. I think he's going to be a decent player as Maryland gets this kid, Devin Cardman. He's got a lot of hair. I don't know if you guys seen the picture of him, but a lot of hair, like a ton of hair. It almost looks like he's wearing a wig, but it's like even longer than Trevor Lawrence's hair. But we get this kid, Devin Cardman, to be another guy in the roster just to offset some of the youth that we have in the quarterback room, because there is a lot of youth. We don't have a ton of guys right now. He played in 3 games. He started at Oklahoma for Kent State, completed 8 of 17 passes for 74 yards. So this isn't like a guy that's going to be necessarily like really good. Like I don't know how to say it. Like he's not a great player, but he's just another body in the quarterback room. Hopefully brings good energy, pushes Malik Washington a little bit. I don't think it hurts. I mean, you never know what can happen. Remember that one year Maryland football was on to got all their QBs were hurt, and they were on to different guys that played high school quarterback trying it out. And so you definitely don't want that to happen. But so I think adding this guy from Kent State, I think it makes sense. I don't know if he'll be the backup or not. I would guess no. He wouldn't be the backup. I think the backup probably will be the freshman, Nathan Bernard, whom I'm actually really excited about. 6'5", 230 pounds. He actually, I think, went kind of under the radar. I think he'll end up being the backup. Am I missing somebody? This quarterback room is just not very much. I think he'll end up being the backup. This guy, I don't even know if he'll be the third string, to be completely honest. I don't know where this guy will stand on the roster. The kid, Roman Jensen, for us, to be honest, I don't really know. But I think Malik Washington's clearly our guy, and we'll see what kind of happens after that. But you just never know. And knock on wood, this would definitely ruin our season. You just never know, so you never can account for anyone being there. But that's kind of what we got. We got a new QB in the room, and we'll see what ends up happening with it. But that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening to Locked On Terps. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're here every single day talking Maryland football and basketball. So thank you guys for listening to Locked On Terps.